So what's the one nugget about this bill you want people to remember?
I think I would remember that the Government Claims Court is a court that can establish a good body of law for the state of Montana so that the legislative acts that we're passing get a fair hearing in the court.
Ready, set, showtime. Welcome to the Montana Majority Report. Quick, transparent, and informative. Get the inside scoop on policies, people, and decisions shaping our state, all in less time than it takes to pour your morning coffee. Stay tuned. Montana starts right here.
Thank you. I'm Senator Barry Usher. Welcome to the Majority Report. I'm Senate District 19, which is northern Yellowstone County, Muscle County, Petroleum County, Golden Valley County, and Fergus County. This is my fifth session, and I am currently the chair of the Senate Judiciary, and I was the chair of House Judiciary, and I also served as the vice chair of the Senate Select Committee on Judicial Oversight and Reform. And today I have our Majority Leader in the Senate, Senator Tom McGillvray, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new Montana Government Claims Court. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks, Senator Usher. My name is Tom McGillvray, as you said, and I represent Senate District 26 in Northwest Billings. So, yeah, we served on the Select Committee together, so we had a lot to do with creating a number of bills that address the courts in general. And one of the bills that I am working with is called the Government Claims Court, Court of Government Claims. And it is what's called a specialty court. And the Montana Constitution gives us the constitutional authority to start other types of courts like water courts or municipal courts, justice courts, a number of different courts that have been created under the Constitution. And this would be a specialty court that has concurrent jurisdiction with district courts over civil cases on like constitutional claims and so forth. And it also is a court that would ultimately be where the judges would be appointed by the governor. And Article 7, Section 9 of the Montana Constitution also gives the legislature to select selection methods for judges of other courts. So it's within our constitutional authority to create this type of court.
So this is so that's similar to the water court because that's how the water court are appointed, correct?
Water court, I think, are appointed by the Supreme Court, but it is appointed court.
Right, and we set those rules up.
Yeah, we set those rules up, yep.
So tell me why you're bringing this bill?
Well, that's a great question, and one of the big reasons, we're both from the Billings area. You're still Yellowstone County. But the 13th District, which is Yellowstone County and other areas around Yellowstone County, has 8 judges, and they're already just swamped with criminal cases. So what we're trying to do is create a court that can deal with complex civil cases like constitutional claims or the illegality of state actions or permit issues like oil and gas permits, environmental permits, and so forth, to take some of these complex cases out of the district courts and give them more time to focus on what they should focus on, the constitutional claims on criminal cases or just criminal cases in general.
So not only is it going to take a bunch of claims off the district court, so it's relieving some of the pressure with the district courts. And then if I remember looking at the fiscal note, the cost was probably cheaper than adding more judges to Yellowstone County or wherever.
Yeah, just to be clear, Section D, which is a section that deals with the judicial branch, we did add 2 judges to Yellowstone County to try to give them help with the criminal cases that they're having to deal with in that county. But if you look at the 3 judges that are going to be, if this bill passes, appointed to the Court of Government Claims, they are cheaper than 3 judges in Yellowstone County. So they're really not a lot cheaper, but it's very comparable. And we freed up enough money in the judicial branch on programs that were pilot programs or really not that necessary to pay for this court.
So I also remember in the hearing in our committee, most of the opponents were talking about constitutionality. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Article 7, Section 1 allows the legislature to set up other courts. So clearly that's constitutional. Secondly, allows us to set up courts that have concurrent jurisdiction with district courts who have jurisdiction over civil and criminal and so forth. But this is civil. So we can have current jurisdiction with district courts, and the Constitution gives us the ability to appoint those judges via the method that we choose, which in this case is through the governor's appointment and the Senate confirmation. One thing else I would say, Senator, is that this court is very specialized, and specialization is really important, I think. If you look at most attorneys, they will specialize in a particular area of law. But when it comes to becoming a judge, we ask our judge to generalize. So they have to be experts in criminal, dependency and neglect, child abuse, or divorce, or family court, or drug court, or criminal, and civil, constitutional, and others. So they're very broad in their generalization. And if you look at constitutional cases or complex permit issues or environmental issues, that's a special area of expertise that really needs focus and a clear understanding. So this specialty court would focus in that area because, again, those cases are complex and they can take a long time. So that's why we're doing a specialty court.
Can you explain a little bit further about what types of cases will come to this court?
Yeah, I have the bill right here in front of me, and I'm just going to turn to that section of the bill. And here's essentially what this bill covers to make it clear. It deals with claims on equitable or declaratory relief based on the alleged unconstitutionality of a state statute. So, for example, if we passed a law, and even though our attorneys here say it's clearly constitutional, there was no note to us that had a constitutional doubt about it, but some, in this case an environmental group, challenges that law. That case would go to this court. So the defense, which would be the state, could remove it to the government claims court and deal with that area of environmental issue or an oil and gas issue or a constitutionality of a legislative statute. Those are the types of claims that go here. Or administrative review, like our administrative law judges look at different cases under the Montana Environmental Policy Act. And if there's a challenge of an administrative law judge, that would typically go to district court. In this case, it would go to the general claims court, and they would deal with it there.
That's awesome, and that really does sound like it will relieve the courts from a lot of cases that could take a long time.
Yeah, some of these cases could take a couple weeks, and if you take a couple weeks out of a district court judges in, say, Billings, that's a lot of time they could be able to deal with criminal issues, clearing those dockets, getting people out of the Yellowstone County jails into the Montana State Prison, which frees up the ability of, the sheriff and the police to actually arrest people that have active warrants in Yellowstone County and not have those. It becomes a public safety issue. So this court not only addresses those complex issues, but it helps the district courts get their criminal cases taken care of so that we can focus on public safety in Yellowstone County as well.
So have you looked at the numbers of how many cases a year do you think they'll get?
That's a hard one because there are constitutional claims, there are claims about the illegality of a state statute, there are environmental permits, could be air, water permits. So it's very difficult. And if there's a constitutional claim on perhaps another issue, a civil case, a business case, that could go to these courts as well. So it's hard to tell. So what we hope to do is set up this court, let them take these claims. If they were able to take more claims, then we could go back and maybe look at what I was trying to do in a previous bill that could give this court more jurisdiction over business claims. So there's tremendous opportunity here. And one of the biggest opportunities, I think, is to have a clear body of law in environmental areas, oil and gas, air permits, constitutional cases, that sets good body of law that makes Montana a predictable place to do business for companies to come and work.
So I know there's 3 judges and they're going to be spread across the state, but normally those cases would go to one judge. How does it go from one judge to the 3-judge panel?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's outlined in the bill. So the first thing, if the case is directly filed in the government claims court, then it's going to be in Helena. So the 3 judges will actually be in Helena. or close to there around. If the claim is brought in, say, Muscle County, then that judge would go to Muscle County. That would be the venue of that. And the trial, if they had a trial, would take place there.
And where are they going to be based again?
Helena.
All three of them are
All
going to
three
be
of
in
them.
Helena. Okay.
And if you read the bill, they would work out of the old Supreme Court chamber when the legislative is not in session.
Awesome. What else do you want to tell us about this great bill? Because I can't see anything that's wrong with it.
Well, I think it is a good bill, obviously, but I think what it really does is several things. It relieves district court judges of complex cases and claims that allows them to focus on criminal, which is where we're really backlogged. Secondly, it establishes a very good, stable body of law that makes Montana a great place to come and do business, particularly in the natural resource areas, as well as having a clear body of law on constitutional cases. And they can put that together. Ultimately, it can always go to the Supreme Court, but if you've done a good job in the lower courts, it makes the Supreme Court's job easier as well.
We want to make it easier for the lower courts and the upper courts. And like you said, it's not going to cost much money. So what's the one nugget about this bill you want people to remember?
I think I would remember that the Government Claims Court is a court that can establish a good body of law for the state of Montana so that the legislative acts that we're passing get a fair hearing in the court, and that we can be attractive to business interests, environmental, not necessarily environmental claims, but people who want to do business in Montana in logging, mining, extraction industries, that we can have power plants that are functional. And, if we don't have good power in the state of Montana and good natural resource industries, it takes a huge chunk out of our tax base, raises property taxes. So I think it's just a general good specialty court that can help the functioning of the law in Montana function better, more efficiently, more expeditiously.
And make us more business friendly.
More business friendly.
Because
yes.
these cases won't get stuck in the district courts where they're bogged down with the things that they're required to do first, and business cases and civil business cases are put off to the back burner.
Safer, more productive state of Montana.
No question. You do a great job on your bills, and I'm sure you know that much better than I do, but I appreciate all the great answers. Thank you.
Thank you.